Welcome to the Ashmolean Museum and the Viewing Art Mindfully podcast. My name is Ruth Collins and I'm a trained mindfulness teacher working with the Ashmolean. I would like to introduce you to the practices you will be doing today. We will begin with a mindful arriving and preparing to view practice. This will be followed by a talk from one of the curators from the Ashmolean, who will guide you mindfully through a specially selected object from the museum. Coming to settle. Ideally, you will be sitting on a seat that supports you to be upright, relaxed, but alert, with your feet placed easily on the floor in front of you. If you feel comfortable about doing so, allowing your eyes now to close, otherwise letting your gaze drop and soften so that you are not looking at anything in particular. Setting an intention now to arrive fully by connecting with a sense of the body sitting. Perhaps you can feel the distribution of the body's weight on the chair. Let yourself be fully supported by whatever you are sitting on. Once you feel settled, just checking in with your position. You might want to adjust your posture slightly to feel more comfortable. It can be helpful to lengthen the back a little, relaxing your shoulders, opening your chest, tucking your chin in slightly to elongate the spine to allow for a smooth flow of breath from the nose or the mouth all the way down to the abdomen and back again. Now, bring your awareness all the way down to your feet, with the intention not being to think about your feet, but to feel sensations in the feet. Notice the point at which your feet make contact with the floor, the balls and the heels of the feet, the toes. Perhaps you can feel the toes lightly touching each other, or maybe you can feel the texture of any material that's resting on the feet, or the firmness of footwear encasing them. Allow yourself to gently and curiously explore each and every sensation that you can detect. And if you can't feel anything, that's fine too. Just being curious about this also. All the while, the mind will intrude and try to pull your attention away from the focus of the feet. Whenever this happens, as best you can, coming back to simply feeling sensations in your feet once more. Now letting go of your feet, turn your attention to your seat, your buttocks, your sit bones, your thighs on the chair. Bring your awareness to the sensations of sitting, the firmness of the chair beneath you, the point at which the thighs extend beyond the end of the seat, perhaps, the sensations of clothing in contact with the skin. Maintaining as best you can a simple, non-judgmental curiosity as you explore sensations of touch and pressure, returning to the anchor of sitting whenever the mind tries to entice you away to think about something else. As soon as you notice this happening, bringing your awareness mindfully back to whatever sensations you can identify while sitting on the chair. Moving the attention away from sitting now and shifting the focus of your awareness to your hands. Feel your hands whilst they're still. Perhaps the hands are resting on each other, or laying on your lap, or the chair arms. Just taking a moment or two to explore sensations wherever you notice them. A feeling of roughness or smoothness from the surface they are lying on. A sense of softness or firmness of touch. There may be skin-to-skin contact where the hands connect. A sense of the spread or closeness of the fingers and thumbs. Working from the tips of the fingers all the way through the hands now. The backs of the hands, the knuckles, the palms. You may feel coolness or warmth as the air lightly brushes over the skin. The mind will wander as minds do. Whenever this happens, patiently and gently returning your focus to the physical feelings and sensations of the hands. Letting go of the hands now, bringing your awareness to your upper body and to the sensations of breathing. Not needing to change how you're breathing, but just tuning in to the natural rhythm of the breath that is already there breathing for you. Notice how the abdomen gently rises and falls as you inhale and exhale. For a moment or two, just focusing on following one breath all the way in and one breath all the way out. Perhaps being aware of a slight pause between the breath as you breathe in and the breath as you breathe out. If the mind drifts away or gets caught up in thinking, simply drawing your attention back once more to the anchor of the breath and the body sitting here breathing. With full awareness of the body sitting here, right now, and whilst continuing to keep the eyes closed or the gaze softened, gently expanding the spotlight of your attention to become aware of sensations in the body as a whole. Perhaps you feel the body moving slightly with the breath, a slight rocking or swaying, or points at which the body makes contact with another surface, a slight tingling sensation, the coolness or warmth of the skin. Widening your awareness further, perhaps you can detect other things through the senses too. Maybe you can hear sounds around you, sounds near and far. Keeping the focus on the aliveness of your senses, preparing to open your eyes now, ready to bring your full attention to the work of art presented in front of you.
We are looking at a large watercolor made in Paris at the end of the 19th century by the French female artist Elisabeth Sanrel. When we start looking at this work of art, the first thing that comes to mind is its size. The drawing is made on a very large sheet of paper, almost a meter wide. Interestingly, we cannot see the original white surface of the paper anymore, as the artist has applied an even golden background across the entire sheet. This was done in watercolor, and the artist applied it with a broad brush. This is why we can now witness this gold-colored background layer as slightly transparent. When looking closer, this background is not as evenly applied as expected. We can even discern darker areas or patches, which are caused by the accumulation of more pigments in the water solution used to apply the watercolor. The lower left corner of the sheet, for instance, is significantly paler than the areas above. In that lower left corner, we also immediately see a very prominent signature written inside a banderole. It reads Elisabeth Sonrel, with the date written in large numbers underneath, 1897. The fact that the artist has written her name in such large letters on the drawing indicates that this is not a study or a work in progress. It is clearly a finished work of art that the artist was proud of to sign as her own. Looking at the drawing overall now, we can see two women wearing historic clothing and sporting rather large veils. They appear to be praying as their hands are clasped. There is an overall sense of tranquility or stillness. The two women are depicted almost to their waist down. The one at the left appears older, perhaps the mother of the younger woman at right. The drawing could perhaps be a family portrait, a realistic portrayal of a mother and her daughter. We can't be sure these are truly portraits, though. From looking at their faces, it is not entirely possible to draw physical correspondences between the two women. Their noses are perhaps quite similar. Unfortunately, we can only see the eye color of the younger woman, which has a beautiful grey hue. If the two women are not related, it is entirely possible that the artist has chosen two random models to convey a certain mood or feeling in this drawing. When looking more closely at the figures, and let's focus on their outlines first, we can see dark lines in graphite made with a pencil. The artist drew these for guidance, after which she could fill in the composition with planes and layers of translucent watercolor in different shades. When focusing on the sleeves, for instance, we can see that the artist applied layer upon layer. By doing so, she has achieved a tangible, almost velvety effect. She must have been very concentrated, and it would have taken her a long time to wait for underlying layers to dry or to blend the different pigments in such a subtle way. Another great testimony of Sonrel's talent as a watercolorist can be seen in the very large and elaborate headdresses in the shape of pristine white veils that the women are seen wearing. The two veils are equally impressive in size, but are completely differently worn when examined more closely. While the younger woman has tied her veil underneath her chin, the left woman's veil has a shawl-like extension, covering her chest and neck too. This is then pinned on the side of her head, and we can barely see the tiny pin. When resting our eyes on the veils, we can start to see more details underneath, like the decorations in the linen, the straps to fasten them, and the outline of their hair underneath. These are so delicately drawn, and you will not even notice them when you only quickly glance at the work. These subtle details only become apparent upon closer examination. Examining the rest of the women's costume now, it is clear that both women are wearing expensive clothes, wearing heavy capes or cloaks over their underclothing. The only piece of jewelry seen is a large silver and pearl clasp which the older woman has chosen to fasten her dark cloth. She has even tucked the lower part of her veil neatly underneath. The younger woman is wearing a different kind of cape, pink, almost matching the color of her skin, which can be seen on her neck, just below where her veil is tied together at her chin. Her white shirt underneath is delicately trimmed with frilled cuffs. When we now look at their hands, it becomes obvious that they are both praying in their own way, the older woman clinging onto the religious attributes of her faith, in her left hand a small missal, a prayer book illustrated with decorative borders. We can't really discern whether this was hand-drawn or rather more likely a mass-produced prayer book with colorful printed illustrations in lithography. She appears very focused and concentrated on reading the prayer in front of her. In her right hand, the older woman is seen holding a large branch with green leaves. In fact, the French title of this drawing is Les Rameaux, which can be translated as the branches. In a religious context, this usually refers to the palm branches of Palm Sunday, a Christian holiday celebrated on the Sunday before Easter. When Christ entered Jerusalem on that day, he was welcomed by crowds laying palm branches on his path. The woman here, however, is not holding palm branches, but perhaps some boxwood, such as boxes. The easy explanation for this might be that boxes was more readily available in the part of France where the drawing was made. The younger woman on the left, on the other hand, does not need any attributes to express her faith, and she is seen clasping her hands in prayer while staring in the distance. Whether she is so enthralled in concentration or simply lost in thoughts and perhaps daydreaming, we will never know. Despite seemingly depicting a common activity like praying or contemplation, the setting against a plain golden background here evokes a mystical atmosphere. This is typical of early work by the artist Elisabeth Sonrel, who was very much influenced by contemporary symbolist art. When she started her artistic training in 1891, 6 years before this drawing was made, women were not admitted at the state-funded École des Beaux-Arts in Paris, and she had to join one of the few private art schools in Paris that allowed women. Her enormous talent was soon noticed, and she received great recognition during her lifetime.